I'm not supposed to be here.
Soul was so packed with references to classic Pixar films that there was a whole scene dedicated to them. But did you spot them all? Carl from Up, Riley's broccoli pizza, an alternate ending? Those are just a few of Soul's hidden secrets. Here's what you might have missed.
It says take one.
Don't, or do, okay, fine.
Man with a van.
So, first things first. If you haven't watched Soul yet, there are some definite spoilers ahead. We can't talk about references in a Pixar movie without mentioning the iconic Pizza Planet truck. It makes an appearance in almost every Pixar film, and in Soul, it's hidden in the Hall of Everything. The Hall is basically a room filled with references to other Pixar movies. There's a Ferris wheel from Toy Story 4, the balloon and Spirit of Adventure blimp from Up, and the Axiom from WALL-E. There's even a monorail in reference to The Incredibles 2, an Aztec temple from Coco,
This isn't a dream then. You're all really out there.
and the small orange boat and whale in the sky are likely references to Finding Dory. There's also this large, strangely shaped object in the background that's probably the big rock known as Willie's Butte from Cars. Pixar's short films also get a shout out in this scene. There's a chessboard that pays homage to Jerry's Game, and a canoe that references Loop.
These souls need their spark, and that's where you come in.
When a new soul is looking for its spark, we see it give archery a shot. The fact that the soul is shooting at 3 targets reminds us of Brave, when Merida shoots at 3 targets to try and win her own hand in marriage. If you were admiring 22's home before entering the zone, you probably also spotted the Pixar ball hiding under a table. It's not colored in this scene, so it's more subtle.
Wait, are you actually helping me?
But there's no doubt that that's the ball that has made appearances in almost every Pixar film. There's a very subtle nod to Monsters, Inc. when Joe and 22 get on the subway. The number on the subway car is 2319.
2319! We have a 2319!
Which also happens to be the contaminant code featured in Monsters, Inc. whenever a child or something that has touched a child infiltrates Monstropolis. Soul has a lot in common with Inside Out, in the sense that it deals with a lot of mental health and finding purpose. Since Pete Docter also directed Inside Out, he included a few references to Riley and her family. Riley's dad works for a startup called Brang, and he wears their shirt. In Soul, an ad for the company appears on the New York City subway. The full ad is never seen, but it's definitely the same logo. A reference to Riley herself pops up in the Hall of Everything scene when Joe is trying to inspire 22's spark with some good old-fashioned pizza. On the top shelf, there's a broccoli pizza, which is too random not to reference Riley and her mom stopping for a slice.
Just smell it.
Can't. Neither can you.
What? You're right, I can't smell.
When 22 changes her voice,
This whole place is a hypothetical.
I could sound like this if I wanted to.
you might have noticed that it sounds exactly like Carl Fredricksen from Up.
Yeah, that was good. Here, let me talk to him.
That's the voice of Ed Asner, who also voiced Carl. And it's no surprise he's included, since Soul's director Pete Docter also worked on Up. When Joe, as a cat, walks past a rat hauling a piece of pizza, the first thing that popped into your head was probably Pizza Rat. Pete Docter included this moment, which references the famous rat caught on camera in New York City, to forever immortalize him in film. It's also a bit of a cheeky reference to a just as famous Pixar rat, Remy from Ratatouille. Another reference hidden in the Hall of Everything is the Pixar lamp. Known as Luxo Jr., the lamp that you probably know best from the Pixar title screen actually starred in its very own short film in 1986. But in the Hall, we can see it inspiring a new soul. If you're a pro at Pixar references, you might already know that A113 appears in a lot of Pixar films. It's not a reference to just one movie, but to the famous Cal Arts classroom where many Pixar alumni studied. In Soul, there's a blank street sign towards the right side of the screen in the Hall of Everything that reads A113. We're going to go back to the Hall of Everything for a moment to point out all the Inside Out references there, because there are just so many that are specific to Pete Docter's previous Pixar film.
Yeah, it's good. What happened with the playoffs?
There are a few references to San Francisco, like the Golden Gate Bridge and a trolley, but there are also some more direct references to Riley's mind. It looks like there's a princess castle in the back, which gets demolished in Inside Out when Riley grows older and forgets about it. There's also a bulldozer which was used to push forgotten memories into the memory dump. Even the trampoline could be a reference to the one Riley jumped on with her parents. Seoul also contains a subtle reference to Walt Disney himself.
Where are we?
In Dr. Borgenson's Hall of You, we see a statue of the famed psychologist where he's standing and pointing to his right arm while his left holds a child's hand. This pose is just like the partner's statue found at Disneyland and Magic Kingdom, where Walt Disney points down Main Street while holding Mickey Mouse's hand. 22's home is full of name tags from previous mentors, but there are 3 names in particular that are significant to Disney and Pixar fans. The first is Joe Grant, a Disney animation legend who worked on classic films like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and even helped Pete Docter on Monsters, Inc. The second is Joe Ranft, a Disney legend who won an Academy Award for the Toy Story screenplay and was also the voice of Heimlich in A Bug's Life.
How about a nice tasty worm on a stick?
Last but not least is Jack Kirby, who was a famous comic book artist, writer, and editor at Marvel and helped create iconic characters like Spider-Man and Captain America. If the Lost Souls and the Zone remind you of something, you're probably thinking of the memory dump from Inside Out. The darkness represented in this scene is very similar to the kind of darkness Lost Souls experience in Soul. Both films teach us that having compassion for these negative feelings can help you learn to coexist with them and even appreciate them.
Nothing. I just need to fill out that last box. I give up.
Terry might have been trying to get Joe to move on like he's supposed to, but there's no true villain in Soul. In fact, you might even say that Joe is his own villain, just like how 22's fear to live is what's really standing in their way. But according to Pete Docter, there almost was a more villainous character. David Diggs voices Paul from The Barbershop, who basically just pesters Joe. But he was almost more of an antagonist who would have been a bigger obstacle to Joe's success. But in the end, Joe calling out Paul for being jealous was all he really needed to do to defeat this naysayer.
He's just criticizing me to cover up the pain of his own failed dreams.
And he had enough of a challenge dealing with his own insecurities and the pressures of life, so a true villain was never really needed. Just like there was almost a villain, Soul almost had an entirely different ending. Pete Docter revealed that there were a few different ideas floating around about how to properly end the movie. Some of them were funny and some of them were sad, but one of the ones they almost chose involved Joe actually moving on to the great beyond. But just like the Jerrys, they decided to give him a second chance at life and end the film on an inspiring note. Now that Joe really understands what it means to live, he gets to go and give it another shot. Pixar always likes to hide a reference to their next film in their movies, and it's usually the kind of thing you don't really notice until watching it again. One of the Easter eggs for Soul appeared in Onward, where you can see a record of the Dorothea Williams Quartet. In the case of Soul, this reference actually appeared early on in one of the trailers. Luca is scheduled for release in 2021, and when Joe and 22 walk past a travel agency, you can spot a poster for Porto Rosso, a place you can get to by flying Luca Airlines. The design of the poster itself also has the same vibe as the short teaser trailer for the upcoming film. Any other hidden secrets you spotted in Soul? And what did you think of the movie? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to The Things for more great stuff. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.